Playing the bass is supposed to be about enjoying music, but when your tone still sucks after you've put in years and years of hard work, it's hard to feel like maybe you're just not cut out for it. But if you don't have a good tone after years of practice, it's not because you aren't cut out to be a bass player. It's simply because no one's ever showed you the one fix that unlocks great tone every single time you play. How do I know this? I've been a professional bass player for the last 16 years, and I've road tested this exact fix myself on over 2,500 gigs. So in this video, I'll show you exactly what this fix is, how you can apply it musically without weeks of practice. But first, we need to undo a bad habit and stop you making one of the biggest mistakes bass players make when it comes to getting their tone. Because if you're making this mistake, it's not only wasting your time, it's literally costing you thousands of dollars too. So in the past, maybe you've told yourself, I can't get a good tone because I don't have the right gear. Maybe your bass isn't that expensive, or your amp you don't think is anything special, or perhaps you don't have the latest fancy pedals. But this idea that gear is the most important part of tone, well, this is a bit of a myth that actually costs bass players thousands of dollars. And it's not the way most serious bass players build their tone. Check out the links in the description below to learn more about that, by the way. So now I'm going to demonstrate why the good gear makes a good tone myth is a myth by building the most expensive bass tone I can. So to start off, we have this 70s P bass. Get it up on camera there. That in itself is worth about $3,000. So that is going into this dual monique Dove Cage DI, which is worth about $2,000. From there, it's going into the interface through Logic, which is going to have some fancy plugins on by the time that you hear it. Even the strings on this bass are worth about $80. And despite all of that, my playing still sounds like this. The problem here, as you can probably tell, is that I'm relying on gear to give me a good tone rather than my hands. That's why spending thousands of dollars on the latest gear to get a good tone is a bad habit that you've got to get out of. So now, let me show you exactly what you should be doing to get a great tone out of your hands every single time that you play. So when I was in music school, everyone kept saying that tone should come from your hands. But the frustrating part is no one ever showed me exactly how to do that. And that's a shame because there's a definite technique that you can learn to get a great tone out of your bass straight from your hands every single time you play, no matter what bass you play. So now I'm going to show you exactly what that technique is. So this actually comes from classical guitar technique, and the trick to it is all in the way that you make the string move. In the bad example from before, I was plucking like this. So what's happening here is I'm digging my fingers underneath the string and pulling it outwards so that it snaps back against the neck, which is what creates such a harsh, thin, and percussive twangy sound. But worse than that, because of the way the string is plucked, it forces it to vibrate diagonally like this, so it's going partly up and down and partly side to side. This is why the tone falls apart. Now, watch and listen to what happens when I change the plucking motion. Instead of pulling at the string like I did in the first example, this time we're going to pluck the outer face of the string using the tip of the finger and then pulling it back. Whilst it may seem small, this one change is crucial because it now makes the string vibrate vertically, up and down. It sounds fuller, it sounds cleaner, and much more controlled. So plucking this way is the fix you can use to get a great tone from your hands every time you play the bass. But this is just one note. And being a great bass player is about more than just being able to play one note well. If you now don't learn how to apply this technique musically across phrases and across lines, then everything you've just learned will count for nothing. So now let me show you how to apply this technique to real music. So to apply this musically, you can't just run any old exercise. You need practice that actually translates to a better tone. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time. This means your practice has to hit 3 specific criteria. Number 1, you have to be practicing a real song. Number 2, the song has to be slow and sparse enough to give you enough time to think consciously about the technique that you're trying to use. And number 3, a good tone, rather than just correct notes, have to be the key factor in playing this song correctly. I have one song that I always use with private students for exactly these reasons. It hits all the criteria, but it also genuinely changes the way that they play. So now we're going to look at that song next, which is You're Just a Country Boy by Alison Krauss.
You're just a country boy. Money, have you none?
So the song is in B major and the chords themselves are really, really simple. The verse starts off by moving from B up to E and back again. Later on there's some more chord changes. It goes from E up to F sharp, down to B, down to G sharp minor, and then a couple rounds of E, F sharp and B. So your job is to play through this song trying to use this new technique of getting a better tone from your fingertips to try and blend in with the recording, to match the dynamics, to control your attack, to get a great tone that really sounds like it belongs in the mix. And there is so much space between all of these notes that if you make a mistake or you aren't consistent with your tone production or your technique, your sound will quite literally stick out like a sore thumb. This is how you can apply this technique musically without weeks and weeks of boring exercise practice. But now you've got a new problem. A great tone is just one piece of the puzzle. There are a lot of skills you need to master if you want to become a great bass player, and having a good tone will count for nothing if you don't have all these other skills in place. I've made a video breaking down exactly what these 9 essential skills are, so click up here to watch that next.